Johnny Somali came to Korea with the obvious intention of making clickbait videos to promote his provocative channel. Upwards of up to 7 years in prison or be fined $36,000.
And he also made a deepfake video where he was making out with one of South Korea's biggest celebrities.
This American influencer wants to be famous, but now he's probably going to prison.
Johnny Somali has officially hit the last stop before prison, and the walls are closing in on him fast. His whole situation is spiraling way worse than before, and now even his own lawyer is tangled up in serious trouble. That alone could drag him down further, because without strong legal backup, Johnny's minimum sentence is already looking like 5 years behind bars, maybe even more. But the real storm is coming from the outside. The media is blasting him nonstop, and the public has turned cold, criticizing his every move and demanding punishment.
He can be in jail. At this point, the maximum is 12 years. However, even the default, even the standard punishment would be over 4 years in jail, even if they don't give him the aggravated maximum of 12 years.
He was living it up in South Korea until he went up to these statues. They're called the Statues of Peace.
They have been gambling that the Lotte World witness would no-show and saying, okay, if the witness no-shows, then okay, we can go and not guilty because she's going to no-show and not be there. However, she showed up and was highly motivated to be there.
There's nowhere for him to run, no way to duck the heat. Every camera lens and every headline is locked on him now. Even when he tries to put on a calm front, the truth is that Johnny can't hide anymore. And here's the shocking part. Insiders revealed he actually tried to pull slick new tactics in court to dodge pleading guilty. Imagine that, still trying to play games with the system while everyone's watching. It's clear that whatever strategy he thought would save him has completely backfired. Johnny Somali really thought he found a loophole. If the witness never showed up, he believed he could skate through without pleading guilty. But when that witness actually walked into court, his whole plan collapsed in seconds. At that point, Johnny had 0 cards left to play. He was backed into a corner with no escape, and that's why he finally had to plead guilty. He had no other choice, and the judge wasn't buying any of his stalling tricks.
So big shout out to Lotte World, big shout out for filing this charge. So because he changed his plea from guilty to not guilty, he now has 6, count it, 6 confirmed guilty charges. 4 obstruction of business and 2 minor crimes act. So he is a confirmed repeat offender, repeat criminal with all of these. And once again, each charge stacks up the amount of time he can be in jail. At this point, the maximum is 12 years. However, even the default, even the standard punishment would be over 4 years in jail. Even if they don't give him the aggravated maximum of 12 years, the standard, the non-aggravated.
Now the hammer's coming down. Johnny is already staring at a guaranteed 5-year sentence, minimum. And don't forget, that number could climb all the way up to 12 years if the court pushes for the max. His guilty plea only made things more serious, because on top of everything, it came out that he was involved in spreading that deepfake video. That alone could tack on years and push him straight to the full 12 behind bars. But here's where it gets even messier. Johnny's lawyer is right in the middle of the chaos too. Word is, Johnny has been losing his cool, desperate, and frustrated, accusing his own lawyer of pressuring him nonstop. And to make matters worse, Hank Q's name keeps coming up in all this drama, adding even more weight to Johnny's downfall. Johnny Somali's lawyer has officially fumbled the bag, and badly. In court, when pressed about the obstruction of business charges, he slipped up and made a mistake that only added fuel to the fire. For someone representing a client in such a high-stakes case, that kind of blunder looks sloppy and weak. And let's be real, being Johnny Somali's lawyer comes with its own problems, because he can easily keep certain truths away from Johnny himself. That dynamic alone shows how messy this defense really is. But here's the harsh reality. Even if his lawyer had been flawless, nothing could save Johnny from what's coming.
They show the... You ask him again, the deepfakes that he's seen, the 2 kissing videos, he thinks they're stupid, right?
His situation is brutal, and there's no clever defense team, no smooth-talking attorney that can shield him now. Johnny can't even hide from the public anymore. From the anchors on national TV to random people gossiping in the streets, everyone is locked in on his downfall. The chaos he created has made him a household name for all the wrong reasons. And it's not just the news outlets. Even creators online, who usually chase clicks with scandals, are calling him out.
Ramsey's lawyer seems to think obstruction and all this is a joke. He actually was scoffing and laughing, etc., when they were talking about obstruction, like, oh, it's not a big deal. This is a big deal, and people have gone to jail for years.
They're slamming him for refusing to plead guilty to the deepfake crimes, especially when the evidence is stacked sky high against him. The criticism is coming from every direction, and it's relentless. The truth is ugly. Johnny Somali is shady to his core. That's exactly why he didn't plead guilty in the first place. Right now, there's no solid guarantee that Johnny Somali will finally plead guilty in the next trial. But the truth is, his back is against the wall. At this stage, he doesn't really have a choice anymore. If he refuses, the court can still hand down a sentence, guilty plea or not, and that's the brutal reality staring him down. The public knows it too, and that's why the pressure is heavier than ever. People everywhere, from his own country to audiences overseas, don't want him slipping through the cracks. Nobody wants to see Johnny walk free after all the chaos he stirred up. The demand for justice is loud, and it's getting louder by the day. Frustration has gone global, and his shady behavior is exactly why the world wants him.
Johnny Somali?
No.
He was living it up in South Korea until he went up to these statues. They're called the statues of peace. So he had the grand idea of going up and fondling the women, pouring baby oil all over them. He then undressed.
He gave him the Diddy treatment?
Yeah, he then undressed himself and then he danced on them. He also made a deep fake video where he was making out with one of South Korea's biggest celebrities. Now she's suing him, and that's another 7 years that's added on.
And since he's still refusing to admit guilt for the deepfake crimes, the speculation over what could happen next is wild. Analysts are already saying the fallout could be devastating, not just for Johnny, but for anyone connected to him. And then there's his courtroom performance. Weak, shaky, and filled with excuses that made no sense at all. He leaned on faulty logic, presented half-baked arguments, and honestly looked completely lost alongside his lawyer. Legal experts are tearing it apart, saying his defense has no real foundation, and warning that it could end with the harshest sentence possible. The courtroom atmosphere has turned into a full-blown spectacle, and Johnny Somali is at the center of it like a caged animal. Every move he makes, every word he says is being dissected by reporters and legal experts. Some insiders even whispered that the judge looked irritated with Johnny's excuses, as if the court itself is losing patience with his games.
Like one of the most hated men in a country, and not expect people to turn up and testify against you, you raging douche canoe. I think it's a massive shame that he's not... Well, I don't know. I don't want to speak too soon. I want him to go down. But it does make sense why he's pled not guilty to the deepfakes, because he's fucked on those. Johnny, mate, you fucked around. You're going to find out, mate. It's real bad. You're an idiot.
That kind of energy only makes the outcome look even worse for him. On top of that, social media has exploded. Clips of his shaky testimony are going viral, and people are mocking the way he tried to spin his story. Comment sections are ruthless, with users saying things like, "He's finished," and "This is the end of Johnny Somali." It's become clear that his reputation is completely wrecked, no matter how the trial ends. And if that wasn't enough, lawyers watching from the outside are labeling his defense team as unprepared and disorganized, saying they practically handed the prosecution an easy win. Now here's where things get even darker. Hank Q's name keeps popping up, and whispers say he might not stand by Johnny Somali anymore. Insiders claim Hank is distancing himself, quietly making sure he doesn't get dragged down with Johnny's mess. If that's true, it could leave Johnny completely stranded, because without Hank's backing, the case looks even uglier. Some even believe Hank could flip sides if it helps protect his own image. Meanwhile, the prosecution is stacking evidence higher by the day, and the pressure is crushing Johnny. Reports say he's snapping behind the scenes, lashing out at his own lawyer and accusing people around him of betraying him. The drama is so bad that even courtroom staff are leaking details, saying Johnny looks exhausted and paranoid whenever he steps inside. And the public, they're eating it up like a live soap opera. Every headline, every clip, every rumor is fueling the sense that Johnny Somali isn't just losing a trial, he's losing his grip on everything. It's honestly laughable to me. The logic Johnny Somali's lawyer is using is straight up embarrassing. Think about it. This is the kind of weak reasoning that gets you laughed out of a courtroom. Imagine trying to argue that because Johnny committed one crime, that somehow explains why he committed another. That's not a defense. That's an admission of disaster. And then the so-called drunk excuse? Please, can you picture a lawyer standing in front of a judge and saying, "Well, Your Honor, Johnny Somali was drunk. That's why he spread the video"? That's not a strategy, that's comedy. Being intoxicated doesn't erase the crime, it only makes it worse. The courtroom isn't buying it, and neither is the public. At this point, it's clear his lawyer has run out of tricks. He's got nothing left, and the defense looks completely stripped bare. Johnny Somali has backed himself into a corner, and there's no clean exit anymore. Whether the court hits him with the full 12 years or the minimum 5, one thing is certain: escaping this storm won't be easy. So now I've got to ask you, what do you think about the whole mess with Johnny Somali? Do you think the court will go light on him, or will they bring down the hammer with the maximum sentence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe so you never miss the next big update.